So my first question is to Ms. Hershenoff. Ms. Owens said, quote, if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. So when people try to legitimize Adolf Hitler, does that feed into white nationalist ideology?
It does, Mr. Liu. I know that Ms. Owens distanced herself from those comments later, but we expressed great concern over the original comments.
Double up, 3 or 4 times, I ain't telling no lies, I just run it up. Never let a hard time humble us. Double up, I ain't telling no lies, I just, yeah.
And welcome. This is the Soulfully Conscious Podcast for humans simply being humans. This is Simply King. Peace to everybody. I know I've been out for several weeks now, not giving you guys any content. Make sure you subscribe on all platforms from Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spreaker and Stitcher and all those different things as well. Google Play, all that. But yeah, I've been gone. I think it was quite a coincidence that, Nipsey went away and was taken away from the world. And on top of that, I experienced a few things personally that I had to take care of in the same vein of kind of, bereavement. So I guess, I've been gone for a good reason. Well, I guess not a good reason, but I was gone for a reason that was good enough to miss me for a couple weeks. And but I'm coming back. I'm coming back with an episode that I believe we need to talk about. A topic that has been spoken on for so long by so many different people. You can Google it and you'll see so many different Medium articles about it. So I didn't want to take too much of your time on my way back, coming back, but I did want to start your week off with this tidbit and a new approach, a new perspective to truly approach life, which I think is something that we already do. But I think we have to do this with intention. It's something that Zora Neale Hurston said quite some time ago, where she says, and it's a very famous quote, didn't even know she was the one who said it, all my skinfolk ain't kinfolk. You'll hear people like, Angela Rod consistently stating this in certain moments, which I believe she probably gets to have to deal with it literally on the daily basis. Speaking of people who look very similar to her in skin tone, but yet are so against the mission that she's for. Now, I think it's cool to have different ideologies where you're talking about, people who are, Muslim and Christian, and they both want, the liberation of black people and for black people to succeed and thrive in the world. But just the way that their belief systems and the way they feel like going about that are different. That's not what I'm talking about. It's not exactly what I mean. In this past few weeks, we've gotten a good example of exactly who is the skinfolk and not kinfolk. That being the very, very, at this point, well-known Candace Owens. And she's a black conservative. She dropped out of high school. She dropped out of college, which that doesn't, it's not a knock to a character or anything, but it's to say that it plays a role in the sense of how her scholastic skills aren't that well. And she is pretty much came to fame for being a person who is black and conservative. And this is a very common trend. And it's a common trend that has occurred after Trump got in. There is this weird sense of I think there was a weird sense of self-hate that occurred within the Obama presidency, where people seen ourselves, but because we didn't see ourselves doing something for us, we immediately turned that energy into something that was distasteful. And we had to look at him being someone that was not who we needed. So much to the point that you accept that a person who genuinely is not for you, you will leave room for that because you believe that person is a businessman. They come up with so many different reasons. A lot of them genuinely don't believe he's racist, or they'll say, well, I like his policies, I like the man that he is. It's certain things I don't agree with. Candace Owens may be one of those people as well, but I definitely know she's a person who's leading the charge on black conservatives. She's certainly the face of it. Within this past week, she kind of came into a Judiciary Committee hearing speaking on the subject of hate crimes. And that was a clip that you heard, in the beginning of the episode from Ted Lieu, representative of California, a Democrat. And they brought in, professionals. And I'm glad that, this is a good reason why who's voted in and what's going to be talked about on Capitol Hill matters. I'm not big on, just, politics as a whole. I am big on politics, so that'll be a lie. But I'm not big on, trusting politics only. But I do believe that, I'm not against the theory of let's throw the right people in there and see if things are the same. And I believe in this year and with this past primary, we've noticed the difference. We've put in people who've never been in spaces and places within those offices, and we've seen the difference. You have people like Ilhan Omar, who's going through literally a blackballing, right, live in color in front of us, being supported by the president. Then you got AOC, who's literally just ripping motherfuckers to shreds. I'm talking about she coming through with the facts. The Green New Deal is not some legislation she's putting through. It's literally, like she keeps saying, a resolution. Almost an outline. It's almost a first draft of sorts. It's a proposal, even. But people have definitely came at it as if this is something that she wants people to vote for. That she just wants people to direct energy to it, which I don't think is wrong. And the fact that it's something that we have to, yet again, another thing that people have created ideologies and disagree with, it's crazy. We are very tribal in America. We are so fucking tribal. It's ridiculous. And this is why I believe it leads black people specifically into the skinfolk ain't kinfolk situation. And I believe this is something that you could probably use in other races. I think that's very well possible. But I think the best and the worst examples of people who are quote unquote just skinfolk, it's in blackness. It's definitely on the black side for sure. For sure. I don't believe in the, oppression of Olympics, but I certainly believe black people are getting it the worst. I understand, you do have undocumented immigrants who are, really on the bottom of the barrel of things for a lot of different areas. But I want people to really break it down and understand something real quick. That the way that you may see some immigrants live, they came over here with nothing. And they had to live that way because of the lack of resources. You have people who are black who were born in this nation who live in the same conditions. To me, maybe I'm evaluating it in the wrong way, but it's not about which one's struggling harder, because I think both of them are struggling. But it's the fact of like, we gotta look and see why and lift both up. But skinfolk, it's something that Candace Owens, got up in there and said, and essentially said she debunks, the Southern strategy, which was essentially the switching of Democratic and Republican from a lot of, black people actually used to support Republicans, the party of Lincoln, the party of, of so many different presidents who have done things that have actually benefited black life in some way, shape, or form, either small or big, right? That switch happened because of this shift and this change. After I believe it was, Lyndon B. Johnson, after passing the 1964 Civil Rights Act bill, that's when the Southern strategy kind of struck, and white Southern Democrats kind of, pushed for that. push for that difference, push for that kind of, a lot of white Republicans push for that difference. All these things are very well documented. You can read about these things, that there was this switch from black people who were majority of a lot of black people were Republican, and they switched to speaking towards, black people and all these different things. And I think that's a whole conversation in its own. But Candace is not for us. And I think one thing we got to understand is that there are people who have, quote unquote, their own interest in hand, and they're not thinking about us, about who we are, about what we need. Now, you can't put us all in one box. There's so many different needs. There's so many different cultures within blackness alone, right? But I think that is where we need to align ourselves. What is the goal? What is the objective that you have that matches mine? What are your ideals that match my ideals? What are they? You go to Africa, you think about the continent of Africa, and you have so many different countries, people who all look the same. You can go to Nigeria, and almost every tribe is different in character and culture and all these different things. So they have a different idea. They have the same skin, but different ideologies. And if you're not cut from that same ideology, then you got to go. You're not in this at all. And I don't think that's a bad way to approach life. I think we have to think about these things. I think we got to cut off the people who aren't good for us. Yes, yes, yes. We got to be very intentional about it and designate people to be skinfolk or kinfolk. You're for the betterment of us in some way, shape, or form. No matter how you're doing it, no matter what the way that you're doing, no matter how you're skinning the cat, you're skinning that bit. You understand? But if you are literally working against the progression of blackness, the progression of the black life, black success, you are not for us. It's simply put, it's simple as that. That's it. That's it. That's it. And I think it's hard for people to, reckon with that. But I want to give you guys a few examples of people to really consider skinfolk. Give you certain traits. People who really lean into their colorism, folks who may be mixed, maybe biracial, or are very big on otherness. And there's nothing wrong with claiming who you are, but there's something wrong when you want to claim who you are to somewhat bash the blackness within you. You want to claim that there is something else that you are other than. That is problematic. We got to let that go. If you're not for the betterment of blackness, if the race war starts, we see whose side you're going to be on. And I'm not suggesting the race war is going to come. I'm just saying, metaphorically speaking. But that's the thing. We need to do the very thing that helps us grow in some capacity, in some way, shape, or form. But I think what's interesting is in this hearing, we had examples of people who were there for us. And I've seen literally one thing about them covered at this hearing. And that was from Roland Martin, who always kind of, keeps it real and gives you that, hidden or not spoken about enough black news. And I'm going to play a clip of that. I'm going to play a clip of that right now.
Thomas Jefferson said the following about me and my ancestors. They have no tenderness and love. They are intellectually inferior. They are physically unattractive. Thus began a narrative, says law professor Shauna Marshall, that black people were only good for physical labor, we were inhuman and violent. This was a narrative necessary in order to justify slavery. White supremacy has been a feature of the mistreatment of Native Americans for years, and it was applied to Africans once we arrived here. From the beginning of our country's inception through the Constitution, the Founding Fathers knowingly and consciously embraced slavery and white supremacy. Politics, including the three branches of government, have played and continue to play a role in the perpetuation of white supremacy and the continued mistreatment of black people, either through action or inaction. In 1857, the Supreme Court, in the Dred Scott decision, reinforced white supremacy by saying black people have no rights, that white people need respect.
So that's the thing. You have literally the juxtaposition of two different ways of thinking in one room. They both have the same skin. I believe this. This is what I believe. I genuinely believe that we have to let these people go. Let them be where they want to be. More power to you. Do your thing. You over there. Stay over there. You're good over there. They like you over there. You're cool. They accept what you're saying because you're agreeing with what they're saying. Those are the free thinkers. I really want everybody to understand that the people who push free thinkers most of the time aren't free thinkers. Their thoughts came from somewhere else. They call themselves free thinkers because they've literally allowed themselves to just think differently than someone else that looks like them or usually associates themselves or identifies themselves with similar things as them. So because I don't agree with, this and that and the third about, specifically speaking on, politics and racism, I don't agree. So that's what makes me a free thinker, because you all agree. Understand, there's certain things we should all agree on. I am a firm believer in nuance, but we should all believe that black people deserve reparations and deserve some type of apology for the enslavement of African slaves, now African Americans, their ancestors. We should agree that there's been a disservice and a benign neglect within the black community after the fact, and still to this day. We must all agree that the prisoner pipeline system exists and that the prison industrial system exists, and it is literally destroying modern society because that thing exists, and literally it makes nothing better and literally lines the pockets of so many different people. Certain things we all should agree on, period. That's just what it is. All planes that go up should come down. All food should be edible. It's certain things we should agree with, but we live in a world that's extremely tribal, and we have a very lingering sense of contrarianism that literally makes people into skinfolk. You just want to disagree to disagree. You don't really care to add something productive to this. You're literally just saying we need to bow down because they didn't help us enough. But it's like you're making it seem it's almost like people like Candace Owens and so many other, black Republicans truly are making it seem as if it's not the government. The whole government has screwed black people over, not just certain sides of it, not just certain parts of it, the whole thing. It's the left and right wing of the same damn bird. And we have to see that. We got to see that. We have to. But I mean, that's neither here nor there, I believe, because I think we just need to act. We really need to act on exactly what we feel. You don't belong here no more. You can't sit with us. You can't sit with us. And then you have the last two being, political and religious ideologies. You have some people who politically who believe in policies that are directly affecting black people, and they just don't want to shake those things. And sometimes those things align with their religious practices. They believe in abortion. They don't believe in funding certain areas of funding, impoverished areas, school and education and different things like that. They don't believe in those things because they just don't want to vote for that. They don't support that. Those people aren't for us. They're not for the betterment of us. They're not. They're not. We must let them go. We can't hold on to them. They have to save themselves at this point, because sometimes some people are too deep. And if these are people in your family, I'm sorry. We all probably will have them in some time, but you still need to make sure that you're keeping what you need protected. Protect yourself. Don't allow them to project on this self-hate that they have. Because that's all it is, self-hate. It's unfortunate, but it is. It's self-hate. It's hate. It's hate. It's hate. Hate. But I want everybody to take away this. We will get where we need to be with each other. As I said in my, IG live that, I'm going to make sure I repost that onto my IGTV as well. That's Kings_Memoirs. Nipsey Hussle was a person who literally lived his life as himself to the point where he died, where he was killed. And we have to take lessons from that. We have to see the value in ourselves. And we hope that everyone sees the value in themselves. Skinfolk don't see the value in us. If you're that quick to turn, that's what it is. That's what you see. This looks better over that side. Got you. You stay your ass over there, bro. You stay over there. But the crazy thing about it is in a lot of these cases, these things are usually aligned to some type of racial element or some type of ideology. There is this, when you're talking about whiteness and protecting whiteness, that's what a lot of these black conservatives are doing. Literally protecting hate crimes, protecting so many different things, and hiding behind this notion of like, well, I'm picked on now. I'm a coon. People call me a coon and all these different things. And so I don't feel that, I feel that, the left is dangerous. And look, I think both sides need to be checked and regulated in a different way, honestly. And when you're talking about people who are extremists, there's nothing. Because you have Antifa now. Now Antifa exists. And people talk about Antifa. We're talking about 100 years of people getting lynched in the nation. You will never, you can never upstage the KKK in the matter of oppression and literal, physical, visceral oppression that they literally served. When you're talking about towns of people who are literally gathering for picnics to see a hanging, there's no way you can fall on the sword of they're violent. Because we understand whistleblowing. We understand this coded language and what that means, and the galvanization of people and getting them circled around a point that subconsciously and literally underlining. For some of those people, they directly believe that at their crib. You got some folks who just believe it and just believe it to be something that is morally sound, when in actuality they are literally building this sense of racial tension within them. You can try to cloud it in economics. You can try to cloud it in politics. This country is racist, period. It's what it is. It's what was founded on. That's what it is. There's no way around it. That's what it is. So we got to understand that. We got to start knocking these people out of our circles. You can't sit with us. Bye, Candace. Bye, motherfucking. And that goes, and also when it comes to LGBTQ plus, plus, who are, black. Sometimes we might have to let people go. Because you can't accept all types of us. It's a problem. We're gonna have to let you go. We're gonna have to go ahead and, pack your stuff. Get your things. Please, get your things. That's what we may have to do. Are you ready to? I am. Because these skinfolk, some of them they gotta go. Like, you don't need to talk anymore. We don't need to hear your voice anymore. Not saying that they need to die, obviously, but they need to go mute sometimes. Not that they can't have an expression, They still can, but we cannot amplify their expression. We can't give that a platform and build onto that platform. Let them go to all them white places and tell all them white people that they, black people got this and black people that and this and the third. No, it's crazy. It's stupid. We just got to stay educated and act on and call out the BS. Keep continuously calling out the BS, for real. But no, I didn't want to keep y'all too long. Last thing. The one sign of someone who is just skinfolk and not kinfolk too. Look at the man's hairline and the health of a woman's hair. Look at those two things. 'Cause I'm telling you, when you say bullshit to your community, when you literally are anti-black and you're preaching anti-blackness, either on, from a very aggressive standpoint or passively, it's hard to get your hair done. It's hard to find somebody to do your hair. It's kind of hard. You know what I'm saying? Rachel Dolezal, out here, maybe you can go to her. That's a quote unquote black woman as she claims herself to be, who will probably hook you up. Brothers, who can't get your hairline together, this is on you. You know what I'm saying? That's on you. It is what it is. You can't find a good barber because no barbers will probably cut you up. That's on you. I'm telling you, that is the sign. That is the easy, quick fire way to peep the shits. That's all I'm saying. Look at the hairline, look at all those things, and then figure out what they believe. You'll see what I'm saying. But no, I didn't want to hold y'all too much longer. New episodes, new content, all those different things going to consistently come out moving forward. Any delays that I might have, I'm going to try to let you guys know in advance. But I want you to continuously share, support. Shout out to all the, looks that I got in Nigeria for my last episode and previous episodes. Like y'all looked out. I guess it was something on Facebook. But no. Make sure you also follow the Facebook page at Simply King Podcast page on Facebook. Follow Simply King Pod on IG. Follow me on Twitter at Kings_memoirs. Sorry, my IG at the same. Tumblr. I know Tumblr ain't got porn no more, but I know y'all be on there. You know what I'm saying? Follow that too. Follow me on there. That's Kings_memoirs. You feel me? Things coming. I'm trying to get out of my funk and getting out of, I'm getting out of my bereavement stage and I'm feeling like I got to, move with even better sense of purpose because life is short. This time that we have here is not something that we're going to just have for however long. And we got to utilize our time in the best way we can. That's what I believe, Oh, and happy, I know that I'm recording this on Sunday. So whenever this come out, Game of Thrones will be out and everything. And, I'm gonna probably do some things about that. I'm probably gonna see what I could do and maybe get some maybe try to do a reaction on a weekly basis and make some YouTube content. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, by the way. Make sure you subscribe everywhere podcasts are available. Spotify especially. I'm trying to build that Spotify up. You feel me? But this is the Soulfully Conscious Podcast for Humans Simply Being Humans. I'm Rodney Perry, and this is Simply King. Peace.
Hey, thanks again, man. Appreciate it. Double up. 3 or 4 times, I ain't telling no lies. I just run it up. Never let a hard time humble us. Double up. I ain't telling no lies. I ain't telling no lies. I just
5, 4, 3, 2. That's time. I got to you. That money, my dreams.